sir, and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay. Moving on to item number 2. Are there any non-agendized comments from the public? Seeing none. Moving on to item 3. Are there any corrections to the agenda or consent calendar? We're all good. Moving on to item 4, adoption of the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And the motion passes.
All right, we're skipping item 5. No consent items were brought forward. Moving on to 6A, the Keller Heavenly Water System Improvements Project, Phase 3. Trevor?
Good afternoon.
And I bring the action today.
Good afternoon. Trevor Coolidge, Senior Engineer. Good afternoon, President, members of the board. We're here to discuss the proposed change order number 8 for the Keller Heavenly Water Systems Improvements Project. This change order totals $115,118.86. We have an open contract with White Rock Construction pending completion of a number of critical connections with Liberty Energy related to both the Keller Tank Project and the Stanford building replacement. Over the last year, we've utilized that project for several critical items. The first and largest was rehabilitation of a large concrete outlet structure at Harvey Place Reservoir. That's the beginning of the Diamond Ditch. That's what we release all of our recycled water throughout the irrigation season. At the end of last year, we noticed that a large slide gate was beginning to weep. It was severely deteriorated. We were also seeing seepage through a number of concrete cracks. We had recently completed similar rehab work here at the plant, so we're very familiar with a number of products we were able to do an epoxy injection, a concrete surface treatment following sandblasting. We were able to make that analysis in-house and then work with White Rock on a time and materials basis for this change order. It was a little less than $90,000 to complete that work. We think it was really good money spent. That structure is worth over $1 million. We think we'll get another 20, 25 years out of it based on this rehab work. There were smaller items related to a minor repair on Diamond Ditch. This was an area where we couldn't get concrete delivered to. We were able to have them produce the concrete. We also had them complete an exhaust system on the Paloma well backup generator. That was a project they had previously worked on, but the parts were not available or delivered with that generator. And lastly, we completed a test well at the Cattleman's Trail site, and that required additional BMP and stabilization work following a TRPA inspection. That was a minor amount of work, about $15,000. So in total, these total $115,000, but I would welcome any questions. Any questions?
Quite a variety of activities.
Yeah, so this is all dangled into the Keller project, right? So this is, was it all scoped originally, or?
The reason these are as needed or as directed.
Was that kind of, was the as needed scoped in the original? Okay, we're not in any legal trouble with any of that?
The district is, we adopted our purchasing policy. We're shifting our contracts to reflect this. This is kind of a legacy contract that sells the as needed. You'll probably see less of the as needed items in future contracts.
There will not be any.
Yeah, you'll see this once more. Will you do any type of as needed, more on aggregate, like standalone?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Like with a separate line item in the CIP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we can pick up and we can do some of that work under CUPCO. That was one of the reasons we joined it.
Yeah.
But I talked about it in all committees that this mechanism for doing any as-needed work will be coming off of contracts that are very specific in scope, and then we'll just be adding contingency onto those to account for work related to that scope that is beyond what was budgeted.
Okay.
I will say that these are all related to existing projects and line items. We had anticipated rehabbing the Harvey Place outlet structure. We knew we were doing test well development. We have a standing item for Diamond Ditch, and we had completed the Paloma Keller backup generator project. Yeah, exactly. So we tracked and capitalized those.
All right, are there any more comments or questions from the board? Is there any comments or questions from the audience? Seeing none, what action would you like us to consider?
We'd like to request the board approve change order number 8 to White Rock Construction Incorporated in the amount of $115,118.86, and to authorize the general manager to execute change order number 8.
Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trevor. All right, moving on to items number 7, standing and ad hoc committee and liaison reports. No meetings for us. I think you had an El Dorado County panel, water district, or?
Yeah, so that might get mentioned under the general manager's report, but maybe talk a little bit about the water plenary that El Dorado County Water Agency had up here.
Coming out of the.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to item 8, is there any board member reports? Nothing. Okay. Wow. Moving along here. Moving on to item 9A, end of dig season CIP summary. Megan.
I have lost some time, so we're not having a record board meeting today. So I do have a presentation, so I can fill up more than 5 minutes. Give you guys some visual here. But good afternoon, President Ramsos and members of the board. Megan Colby, Director of Engineering. So this afternoon, I'd like to provide a brief update on the engineering department's accomplishments over the past year, focusing on progress of the capital improvement program, system investments, and internal process improvements that have strengthened our reliability and operational efficiency. So before I want to dive in, I want to start by recognizing the board's continued support for long-term infrastructure investment and our dedicated engineering team for their commitment to delivering these projects safely, efficiently, and collaboratively. So, our water system saw significant reinvestment this past year centered around reliability, redundancy, and supply resiliency. We completed 3 major well rehab projects, Bayview, Elks Club, and Bakersfield, and we have a 4th actively underway at El Tahoe. These rehabs extend the service life of the district's supply sources and help to improve overall production capacity. The Gardner Mountain Tanks Recoating Project extended the service life of 2 critical storage facilities, while the Pioneer Trail and the Bijou 1 Waterline Project upgraded aging steel water mains and improved fire flow to nearby neighborhoods. We also advanced the 2025 Test Wells Project, which is nearing completion and will help to identify future water supply for our community. Together, these investments directly support water reliability and long-term system resilience. On the wastewater and recycled water side, we completed major rehab at the Upper Truckee Sewer Pump Station, which included replacing outdated mechanical and electrical equipment to ensure reliable sewage conveyance and environmental stewardship. The Harvey Place Reservoir outlet structure that Trevor just talked about and the aeration system projects restored critical recycled water storage infrastructure, while the solar project here at the plant is moving forward and is a key step towards significant energy cost savings for the district. We advanced design for the blowers improvement project, and while construction was postponed due to some other critical priorities that came up, it does position us for future efficiency and operational reliability gains. Collectively, these projects extend asset life, support regulatory compliance and environmental protection, and improve sustainability of our wastewater operations. This year, the district also made big strides in how we manage projects and our assets into the future. So first, our next-gen enterprise asset management platform, which is about to go live. Jim has been training staff all week. And our GIS-based program enhancements like valve exercising and a condition-based CCTV prioritization using AI are helping us become smarter, data-driven maintenance and reinvestment decisions. In parallel, we rolled out Procore, which is our new construction management platform, which has standardized construction workflows, improved communication both internally and externally with our contractors, and increased visibility district-wide on CIP implementation. The efforts directly support our long-term strategic asset management plan, which is currently under development, and are improving efficiency, accountability, and value to our ratepayers. And then many projects we completed this year were coordinated with the city, county, or other partners to reduce costs and disruption to our community. A couple examples is we worked with the county on the Apache Avenue Pedestrian Improvements Project and the city on the Tahoe Valley Greenbelt, which protected district assets in their project areas and integrated these new community facilities. We're currently working with agency partners on the north end, Tahoe City and North Tahoe PUD, on grant-funded fuels reduction program at various field stations for all 3 districts. And then our district helped to facilitate a contract with the California Conservation Corps to complete this work cost-effectively. These partnerships highlight our focus on efficiency, transparency, and stewardship through collaboration. Looking ahead, we have several CIP projects that are currently in the planning or design stages. They include the Glenwood Rancho water line replacement, final phase of the AMI meter program, the Bijou sewer pump station rehabilitation, and the Tahoe Key CIPP lining project. Our goal is to keep the pipeline of design projects full so we can continue to deliver consistent capital delivery year over year and support our long-term systems reliability and sustainability. We're working to align our efforts by our strategic asset management framework, prioritizing projects based on risk, performance, and life cycle value. So in 2026, we'll continue advancing high-priority projects focused on safety, regulatory compliance, and environmental protection. This approach ties to the CIP rebuild effort that's currently underway. The next fiscal year, CIP budget is being aligned with sustainable staff capacity levels to hopefully capture a higher achievement rate. We'll be presenting our proposed level of service targets and our asset management policy statement to the board soon for adoption and begin tracking meaningful metrics through the new next-gen platform. The engineering team is also working to finalize several standard details, which benefits both operations and customer service departments as well. And finally, we'll continue to make improvements to our department's procedures and develop staff expertise. We remain focused on proactive asset management, capital planning discipline, and delivering exceptional cost-effective service to our community. So before closing, I again want to thank the Board of Directors for your leadership and commitment to investing in reliable, sustainable infrastructure. I'd also like to recognize the engineering team. Please stand if you're here. Trevor, Brent, Mark, Brendan, Jim, Laura, Taylor, Star, Sarah, Garth, Joe, and Taya. We're small but mighty, and our cross-district partners in operations, finance, IT, and customer service. Thank you, others. Their collaboration and dedication make these accomplishments possible. So together we're delivering infrastructure that protects public health, preserves Lake Tahoe, and supports our community for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice presentation.
Thank you. Any questions?
Great. I'm excited about the next, I'm kind of geeking out on the next gen stuff, but you know, I think that gives us the opportunity, like even the ProCore, the construction management, to just give periodic kind of status on projects and stuff. And as I just encourage you to look at ways to maybe efficiently do that, not to create work, but to just keep us in the loop, you know, so we don't just have to go into CIP development mode and then turn it off for most of the year, but rather just keep up along with it, because this was a great presentation. It gives us an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Easy way to do that using that software. It would be cool. You can even put it in packets or something. You don't have to present on it every quarter and everything, but just having something that gives us an idea of what's going on.
I appreciate that, and it's funny because I just yesterday and today in the morning I attended a couple of CSDA workshops on financial management, and they were talking about dashboarding a lot, you know, the Power BI, and we have so many of these platforms, and I was just thinking how great it would be. So Chris Kelly is still in the room. But to pull, you know, we've got the Next Gen Information, ProCore, Tyler, which is our ERP software, but pulling it together and having like a board dashboard. This one agency was showing a board dashboard, you know, maybe an internal one, so like engineering staff and other departments can use it, and then also possibly a public-facing one that's not like a ticker on kind of the website to show the community what we're getting done. So I like that. Yep.
Just to pile on that one, this is something I think I've been wanting for a long time, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And like moving towards dashboarding and I mean, you look at the list, it's pretty extensive, and thank you to staff for really, you know, knuckling down and working on it. And if possible, can we get a little blurb in the newspaper just to kind of highlight some of the achievements, just to kind of let people know. I think it's important that people understand, you know, when we do these consider rate increases or what have you, that they understand that it's actually going somewhere. I'm sure there's some neighborhoods that are pretty well aware that stuff's happening because it's affecting them. But no, this is really great, and I really appreciate it. And moving towards, I guess, dashboarding, I really would appreciate that as well. And I think that's all I have. I guess I just had one question about some of the software that you're getting into. Is it the Procore software? And it says it's kind of linking our staff with our contractors. And then I guess I'm just getting it. What's the acceptance of our contractors that participate in that kind of?
So this is our first construction season, so some of them kicked off before we went live with Procore. So, but I think the majority, and correct me if I'm wrong in the room, but all of you guys are currently managing through Procore, I think? Yeah. So contractors, it's an industry-wide standard known program. We didn't make something up. Right. We definitely vetted it. We had IT support. We've got different software programs out there before we went with Procore. And so buy-in has been good. You know, there's training that takes place. You know, you got to kind of learn the software and everything, and we're learning on our end as well. But the intent of it is, one, to standardize, make sure we're all doing it the same way. But then also to streamline a lot of the kind of more steps that were paper-oriented or paper-driven. We're trying to eliminate those. We're automating a lot of the work and how contracts flow through. We've got our Adobe sign is now integrated with it, so when we do a change order, that once the board approves it, it already is integrated in Procore and Adobe sign, so it goes to Paul. So just trying to streamline processes and just do this efficiency improvement. So far, no complaints from contractors, unless my staff is not telling me that, but.
Well, I'm just hoping that they're participating in it. It's actually meaningful in their.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe from an inspection standpoint, it'd be helpful, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we do all the field inspection work is through Procore, so it's tablet-based, so they're out there with their tablets or their phones. When they take photos, it goes straight into the Procore platform. We're not downloading photos and organizing them in a folder on the server after work. I mean, it's all being loaded to the project file right there in the system. So it's actually saving a lot of time, hopefully, and some money as well. But that's the intent. So I think, you know, over the winter, we're going to, you know, work on the workflows that we have built behind the scenes on it. And I do want to thank Star and Brent, if they're here. Star is here, Brent is here. They were the ones that were really pushing for the implementation and did a lot of the behind the scenes, so I don't want to take credit for any of this. But we're going to work on those workflows, and then hopefully next year, any new contract that we have going forward is pretty seamless. So.
And then in terms of investment or capital expenditure, is there any way to kind of track the value that's kind of played out this, I mean, as we're moving along? Is that something you have on hand, or is that something we can?
I mean, I know where we're at today. I did get those numbers because I was expecting a question. And so I do have those, and then that was kind of what I wanted to dashboard. So Procore you can do on a project-specific basis or a total portfolio that we have in the Procore software. So I am hoping to have a dashboard once we get more projects in there that I could easily go on and I can see, you know, are there any red flags? Do we need to talk about anything? Because anytime a change order gets filed from a contractor, it hits it immediately, and so you can see, you know, there are a lot of change orders building up, and we haven't come to the board for approval for that. But on a district, so where we're at this fiscal year, so starting in July, total for both the water and sewer funds. I need to go get my eyes checked, guys. I'm doing this a lot more. So I want to be mindful that we have not done budget amendments. We're still working on that. So that is anything that was left over available from last fiscal year gets rolled over. But I've been working with Andrea and Greg and Paul to refine those numbers so that we're not rolling over a large amount, which has historically been what the district has done, is just rolled it over. And part of the CIP rebuild is making sure that staff, you know, we're actually able to get work done, and we're not just rolling money that we're not spending. It affects rates, it affects all the things. So our adopted budget was $13.7 million. We haven't done any amendments yet, so don't be alarmed by these numbers. But we have in total commitments, so open POs, and then what we have actually spent is around $16 million. So once we get those rollovers in, then we should be tracking right. I did sit down with engineering project managers yesterday. We went through those rollovers for the 17th time to get those numbers narrowed down and make sure that, like, if I'm rolling this money, you are committed to spend, like, you are able to spend it. And if not, then we're going to let it go. And so I just sent the new version over to Greg and Andrea. I don't know if they've opened it yet, but that was shortly before this meeting. But we're hoping to get that number down. So.
I'm going to hand it over to Nick. Next line here. I have a sense that he wants to ask a question about the solar project.
No, I
I put it in there.
no, I appreciate it. No, the woman doing the analysis for the environmental is a friend, and so she was texting me photos earlier in the week. So I got a bit of an update. But how close are we to starting?
Trevor, you're still here. Trevor's back and has been taking over managing again shortly. I mean,
So yeah, we're super busy out there. The target is December 20th. So give or take, we're looking at the end of the year. We're pulling DC wire. We're wrapping that up right now. So that's the array side of the transformer, and then Liberty actually has poles dug out there. We're waiting for some poles to pop up.
Right.
At the south entry, we had about 500 cubic yards of wood chips delivered on Tuesday before the storm. We got another 500 cubic yards today and tomorrow. We hydro-seeded around the array on Tuesday, and then we've got Tahoe fence out there. All the fence posts are up. They're working on doing their fence around it. So there's a lot going on. Statton's coordinating a lot with Liberty, trying to get materials from Liberty, coordinating that. So like Liberty's supplying some of the larger wires and connections and poles. So there's a lot of back and forth between Statton and Liberty right now. But yeah, things are moving along. We just got an assignment letter to like transfer the funding mechanism for the project. So that's a good sign that things are coming together to the point that a bank's willing to take it on. So yeah, so there's a lot going on, but things are looking pretty good. They're doing a lot of coordination things and looking at little issues. So.
if Trevor has availability, maybe he can walk anyone out there afterward. I see a yes over there.
No, yeah.
I think he missed the last one, yeah.
Oh, did Nick miss the last one?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get you the code. I am available.
Yeah, if anyone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We can wear our Christmas hats at the ceremony, I'm hoping.
Yeah. We,
I'm gonna do the ceremony in the spring.
Oh.
Nick,
I
let's
like
make
that.
sure it works first, okay?
I was all ready to go. I was excited.
Maybe we do one special one. I don't know. Christmas present. We can put a big red bow on it for Nick. I don't know.
For the whole community, I think that'd be a fun idea, right? I'm going to show. Exactly. Just have one. That's the community that people celebrate, right? Oh, my rapping game is terrible.
I'll be available on the closed session this happened afterwards if you guys want to walk out there.
Yeah, I find it. I think just more broadly, you know, great job with that, especially with everybody we grow in terms of the CIP budget going forward, kind of sure what we can. So that implementation, so I mean everything. So a lot going on, and again, just credit to everybody. Looking forward to the budgetary process as we get into 2026.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Shane, we are planning to do a year-end press release.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's fine. We can wait till then. I just think it's really important that people kind of see or hear or read that we're, you know, doing that stuff.
Sounds good.
Okay, very good. 9B, Adrian, operations update.
Good afternoon, everybody. I do not have a presentation today, and I don't have as much great news as Megan does. I got some good news, and I do have a little bad news.
Adrian go first.
Let's start with the bad news. So we did have a pipeline leak over in the El Tahoe neighborhood. It's over on Sacramento Avenue. It's on a 10-inch steel line. This happened after the dig season ended. We found the pipe at 10 inches deep, which is very abnormal for pipes in our system. They're typically 4 foot deep. It's a 10-inch steel line, and there was multiple bands on this pipe, repair bands. and one of these leaks was at I'm going to call it a field bend. So when they're installing steel back in the day, they could do little bends with the backhoe or welding, and so it's not on an exactly straight piece of pipe. And so we had to section in a piece, 10 feet, might have been a little longer than 10 feet, and we basically have couplings on each side that connect to the existing steel. And these couplings are what you call unrestrained, so it's not as solid as like a welded joint. And at 10 inches deep, what can happen is you get live loads from any snow plows or anything driving over this area. And we're right at Sacramento and El Dorado, and if the coupling gives out that's on this field bend, it's going to flood out 3 houses on El Dorado Avenue. So we're doing an emergency main replacement right now on Sacramento between El Dorado and Placer. It's about 550 feet. Vinciguerra Construction is doing the work. They actually just finished laying pipe yesterday. But this is an old 10-inch steel pipe. We actually had 3 leaks on the main when this first arose. We've since had 2 additional ones. There's leaks that are shown on our map. We found bands that aren't shown on our map. And so this is a 10-inch line. It's pretty critical in this neighborhood. Basically, it's coming out of our Al Tahoe well that runs down Sacramento. And so it's about a $300,000 project to replace this main. That'll be a change order that's going to come onto the Vinciguerra project. That'll be presented at a future board meeting by Laura.
Are we keeping it 10 inches, or can we go deeper, or is it?
So we're replacing it with 12-inch. 10-inch is an odd size for water mains.
You said 10 inches deep.
Oh, it's not going to be 10 inches deep anymore. It's going to be our standard 4-foot deep now. Yeah. But we are replacing it with a 12-inch main. 10-inch is it's an odd pipe size. It's actually more expensive than 12-inch, and so we're upsizing it a little bit. So that's my bad news.
So we're fixing it right, though, right?
Yeah, we're fixing it right. Yeah.
This is the one that I said you would see one more coming forward with the change order with the as needed.
Yeah.
This
Next board meeting.
Yeah.
300K.
Yeah. Any questions on the bad news? Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were really looking at those 3 houses. We were looking at the liability if we flooded one of those houses out on El Dorado. I mean, here it made so much sense to replace this pipe.
What alerted the staff of the leak? Was it a call-in, or was it something detected through SCADA? Or?
It was probably a call-in. It wasn't through a SCADA. Yeah.
Was it like Old Faithful, or was it?
I know that there's like a big hillside there that it was coming out pretty bad. So I'm sure it was probably a customer that called it in.
And then any other ancillary damage to property or anything?
No, there's no property damage associated with it. Any other questions on that one?
I'm just glad we got it before it was too significant an issue.
Yeah, and I mean, and we found this was after dig season ended, so it's been a rush to work with the city and CRPA, get all the permitting done, get Vinciguerra back to they were just demobilizing from the area, and, called them to see if they could come back and help us out with this one. So, I mean, it worked out where we were able to squeeze this in at the last minute of I'm going to call it extended dig season.
I walk my dog by there every day, very, very frequently, and those people would give me a bad attitude. So this is great on that level.
They haven't been giving.
No, I would have got a lot of crap from those neighbors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I really appreciate all that stuff too.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to better news. I'm going to just give a couple updates from the dig season for our underground sewer crew and our underground water crew. And so really the underground sewer crew, which is now our collections and effluent operations, is the CEOs of our district. The big thing this year was the combination of underground sewer and DVR, the ranch. And so spreading the knowledge of the ranch to the guys on the underground sewer crew and having, kind of more backup for the ranch was really a big success. The guys enjoyed working out at the ranch. It's a little bit of a variety from hydro cleaning and videoing sewer lines all day. And so I think that merger worked out really well. It really helped out on both sides where kind of both departments ended up with more manpower. So when we got a project at DVR, we're able to like shift a lot more crew than we normally would. Like right now they're building the equipment storage. Historically was going to be the hay barn. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the sewer crew. They will finish hydro cleaning the entire gravity system in January, and so that's an annual goal, and that's something that really prevents sewer spills in general is getting that hydro cleaning done. This is the first year that they're going to get 4 hay cuttings or alfalfa. We've only sold 2 of the cuttings so far, and I will tell you the dollar amount is a little bit underwhelming. The first 2 cuttings total sold for $26,000, so we're probably looking at $50,000 of sales. So,
do you think that's the quality of the hay or just the market?
I'd say both. They take samples, so they get a quality. It goes on to the Nevada Hay Growers Market, and it basically gets auctioned on there. Once somebody buys it, they come and pick it up. Yeah. Underground water crew, you know, I got to really give it to the underground water crew this year. I mean, they really did a ton of work. I got some stats here, but, you know, before I get into the stats, you know, we were basically down 2 guys the entire year. And these guys work all hours of the night. I mean, they're out there working till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, almost every day during the dig season. They're worn out, but, you know, the amount of work they did to me is like what a private company would do. And so I'm just going to go through some of these stats here so you can kind of hear a lot of the work that they've done. We had a goal of installing 50 blow-offs, which are what we're putting at dead ends. They're the post hydrants. If you've seen them around town, they're the little John Deere green mini fire hydrants. We had a goal of 50. They installed 84. And they also, this was the first year we've flushed every dead end that had a way to flush. And so kudos to them for really upping our dead end flushing program by not only installing blow-offs, but actually doing the flushing and getting all of that done. There was the lead service line potholing that we didn't get started until I believe it was August. And that was kind of a surprise project this year. We really didn't think we were getting to that till next year, but there's almost 800 potholes, you know, at about 400 like service locations, one on the district side of the meter and one on the customer side. And so as a result of that, we'll be able to call our system lead-free and not send the letters out to our customers about potentially having lead service lines. We had 245 leaks. I think we were almost at a record number of leaks this year. In fact, they're fixing one on Sacramento Ave in this area right now that we're going to be replacing, as well as one on Wagon Trail. They're not part of those numbers. So 2 weeks today on top of that. They installed 32 fire hydrants. They repaired 78 fire hydrants, and they did hydrant assessments for 465 fire hydrants this year. A new program that we kicked off this year was valve exercising, and even with everything they were doing, they were able to get 441 valves exercised. They installed 33 new services. They replaced 35 old galvanized steel services. We basically have a new protocol where if you go to a service and it's got one repair band on it, we're replacing the service. And so that basically ended up in the abandonment of 1,000 feet of small steel service lines. We abandoned the 8-inch steel main that went through the Motel 6 line, or the Motel 6 property. That was 1,100 feet of old 8-inch steel. And they also installed 14 water sampling stations. Our lab has to go and take samples every week. They take 25 samples a week. And some of the sample locations are hose bibs off of a personal property rather than a faucet that's straight off of our main. And so we're slowly replacing all of the sampling locations that were hose bibs with sample faucets so that we're not taking a sample after it runs through customer plumbing. So really, I just want to say, you know, kudos to the underground water department for everything they've done. You know, they are a extremely hardworking crew. They work day and night. If you guys ever see them out there, please stop and say thank you to them. That's all I got for my news today. Anybody have any questions?
Just a quick one on the water sampling station. So you're saying that we have like some dedicated residential properties that we're sampling from, or?
Yeah, so there's, basically we have 125 sites where we take bacteria samples, on a monthly basis. So we're taking typically 25 a week. And these are, locations that have been approved by the Department of Drinking Water, and some of those are residential locations where we're like coming off someone's hose bib, and the other ones are STPUD, like sample faucets. So basically what those are, it's a service that goes to, it's like a green box, and it's like basically, something that drains out so it doesn't freeze, but it's coming straight off of our main, so it doesn't go through a customer's plumbing. There's always issues with like going through someone's house, like it's going through other piping that doesn't belong to us. The customers know that we're coming to take these samples because we're doing it every month, but it's just better for it to come straight off of our system and not go through customer plumbing. So
I guess I was just surprised that we actually are, is it like staff people's homes, or is it?
No,
do we have like
some of them are old staff, but others are just, our property owners out here that have given us permission. They know that we're coming every week for that. Yeah.
And then for service lines, does that mean our connections to like new residential, or what do you mean by service lines?
So the service line, so there was 33 new services. So those are like services run to like new houses and whatnot. And then 35 service replacements, which are basically old leaking service lines that probably had multiple repair bands on it. And rather than putting another band on it, we're just replacing the service. Yeah.
Great work. Tell the guys we appreciate them.
Will do. I think there's a end of dig season barbecue next week, and if you guys are coming to that, those guys will be there, and that would be a great place for you guys to say thank you directly to them.
I love that you guys had an end of season barbecue. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
13th is new. Yeah, great work. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, kudos to both the engineering division and the operations division. That's incredible work they did this year.
Good stuff. All right. Moving on to item number 10, General Manager Report.
Just a couple things for me. Megan mentioned the next-gen training that had been taking place this week, and I just really wanted to thank Jim Kelly and just all of the staff for their commitment to this new asset management program, because without them being committed to the training, we would not be successful in its utilization. So great job to Jim for getting everybody on board. I think we reminded him about 100 times of the training week, so I think we got it into their head. Then a couple other things. Water Agency did hold their plenary here a couple weeks ago. And most of the discussion was around, of course, water supply, water quality, water safety, security. But what I kind of found most interesting is Wahan was here, and they gave an update on the PCE contamination issue. And their chief legal analyst, I guess is what they call them, maybe just chief lawyer, was here, and she stated that they are currently in settlement negotiations with the responsible parties and actually expect those to be completed within a couple of months. So we'll see what comes out of that. They stated, of course, that their goal is to have no additional financial responsibility from the community have to go towards this contamination. So hopefully we'll get some good news out of that.
So what's our exposure on that? We've had to do things differently or help remedy that situation.
Well,
I'm curious, to what extent is any kind of recovery coming our way, or is it mostly total?
Well, we've actually received, because none of our wells currently have any contamination from that. Tahoe Keys and Lucan's did, and Lucan's put a treatment system on. But a lot of the
associated just kind of work we had to do for that, we got most of the funding from the water agency to help support that. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully we'll hear something good in a couple of months, what comes out of that. And then the other thing I want to bring up is next week, we're hosting the Chamber's State of the South Shore event here at the district on Wednesday evening, and it's from 6 to 7:30. And the participants are going to be the district, city, Douglas County, and El Dorado County. And each one of us will be giving just about a 10-minute presentation. It's going to be very similar to like what Megan did. Because, yeah, the topic is infrastructure improvements completed over the last couple of years, as well as plans in the near future. So that's what each agency is going to present. And I'm going to be the presenter for the district. I've heard Joe Irvin is coming from the city, the county manager for Douglas County. I'm not sure who that is. And I think El Dorado is actually setting Brook Lane. They're elected. So that might be interesting.
When is that?
It's Wednesday, 6 to 7:30. That's all I have.
Can you send us an invite on that?
Oh, sure. We can do that.
We'll post it over to quorum.
It's one of those things that's like,
Oh, yeah, we'll have to post it as a quorum if two or more of you think are coming, or more than two. Yeah, more than two.
everybody else coming?
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, anything else? You're good? All right. So,
Quick question. Within your interactions with the Forest Service, is there anything with the shutdown that's causing a delay, whether in permitting or, I guess it's just in general interactions? Forest Service, you know what I mean, like anything we're dealing with?
special use permits?
That's what, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, that's probably, yeah. Were you going to talk about Pioneer by any chance?
I mean, that is.
Yeah, that's the only one that I'm really.
That was the one that was in my head.
Yeah.
We have three that I know of. We have Baldwin Beach, which is currently frozen. That's a gravity sewer replacement. And then we also have our Pioneer Trail special use permit. That's probably our most pressing one. It's sensitive. And then also, it's kind of silly, but we have our Forest Service funded vegetation management project that we can't get the field wood permit from the Forest Service to complete the field removal. So we're moving forward with that project without delay by focusing on our sites and CTC lands. But at some point, we're going to run into issues with work on Forest Service properties.
And I guess in terms of the time sensitive, I mean, when is the
We're trying to bid.
Are we at the panic button?
We're
Not quite yet.
45 days away.
Yeah. Like, we're trying to bid it by early January for Pioneer Trail because, we have to complete it by a certain time because we have funding to pay for the actual work.
Right.
So, we're kind of keeping a pulse on what's going on. We're going to meet with Grant. We've been talking to them regularly in case we need to reach out to our funding partners. Some of this is out of our control. So we're keeping a pulse on things and making sure that, we don't have to hit that panic button. But we can keep you guys posted. Maybe an off committee could be something we keep you guys.
Talk about that project in concerns with the Forest Service going back like a year ago.
Yeah, and the special use permits are held up for a lot of agencies in general, and it's pre-shutdown. It isn't really a shutdown.
Oh, yeah, these people aren't working.
It's just a straight up. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, 80% of the Lake Tahoe Basin Management Unit is working. They're funded with other funds. But the special use permit is a bigger issue. Like, getting stuff through there has been a reoccurring problem for multiple agencies that I work with. So we need to figure out a solution here. I think talking to Eric Walker, the forest supervisor, or something, like maybe having Paul reach out, just to kind of put those on the radar, because a lot of agencies are really starting to kind of push a little more. Like, there's a major problem here in getting infrastructure improvements in general out. So we gotta address it. We're one of, unfortunately, many that are held up right now.
I guess, but to the kind of political side of that, have you been applying any pressure, as you suggested? Is there kind of a communal outreach effort going on? Is that even taking place?
I don't think it's unified.
What's that?
I doubt it's unified right now.
Yeah, it's probably not unifying.
Everything, yeah.
Generally, their special uses department has always been challenged. It's not anything new.
There's just a lot of infrastructure improvements going on right now. Again,
Yeah, I was under the understanding that they are still continuing with fuels reduction and other types of activities. You know, I still see Forest Service trucks driving around. And anyway, so I think like you're saying, there's probably still quite a few people that are working through other funds. Yeah.
We'll work together with, Shelley's team and Paul and then Grant and, possibly reach out to some of our other partner agencies and see if there's some kind of united thing, but if not from at least from our district. This is what we need. We've got funding contingent on these projects.
Right.
No, great, comment. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 11, future meeting events are listed in the agenda. We've got quite a few things coming up. I'm going to close this session. Nothing to report. Meeting adjourned.